And we're back. Another week. Another sad, depressing month in the life of America. Uh, oh, shoot. No, repeat that again.
I'm guessing I'm older than you.
No, repeat that entire sentence. Apparently, I thought I unmuted you. Apparently, my button and disc and OBS were not on the same page.
Hey, XLG, I'm 44. I'm not a whippersnapper. I think I'm probably older than you.
I hope you got that, XOG. I don't know how. I thought you. Did you turn? Did you turn 40 last year, XOG? I don't want to dox anybody's age. So I kind of already just did asking that question out loud.
He says true. Ha 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 ha.
He hasn't said he hasn't answered my question yet. That was answering to you. Oh.
Turned 43 in December. Well, I'll turn 45 in January.
Wait, your birthday's in January?
January 12th.
I think I should have known that. Huh.
I don't know your birthday.
I'm gonna keep it that way.
I mean, I've wished you happy birthday before. I just don't remember when.
I mean, yeah, you'll see it. I mean, and somebody already knows already, and I'm surprised he hasn't revealed that information. At least I think he knows. He might not even remember. He's got a bad memory. Because I actually did play Alien Isolation and you watched me, XLG. I want that to be on the records. It's in February, man. I mean, yeah, you wish me happy birthday. I'm surprised you don't. The weirdest thing is my birthday is memorable, even though I don't want it to be.
Whistling?
Because he knows my birthday. Apparently, he remembers it too.
Oh, okay.
I called him out
Um,
saying like someone else here knows my birthday, and I'm surprised they haven't doxed me yet. Apparently, he's just playing innocent. I said
what's
it's
your sign?
February. I said it's February. You can guess what day it is. It's very, very, very simple. It's the only holiday quote unquote that exists in February. Well, besides
What's your
President's Day. So never
What's
mind.
your sign?
Aquarius, like yours.
No, I'm Capricorn.
No, people born to January to February usually are Aquarius.
I
Unless there's
think
like
I
a
would know. I think I would know what my sign is, dude.
hold on, let me look at it. Oh, it's Aquarius and Capricorn.
Told you.
It's so weird. Why is January split up like that?
Because it goes by the Chinese calendar, not the Roman calendar. So it doesn't really care what months, in the Roman calendar that it lands on.
So wait a minute. So February 19th and onward. What is that? Pisces. Wow, if I had actually been born like about 5 days after the fact, and actually technically speaking, if I actually had been born on my actual date that I was supposed to have been born on, I would have been a Pisces, but I came out in Aquarius.
So you were almost not a Pisces. I mean, almost not an Aquarius.
Apparently, I mean, yeah, my mother told me I was supposed to have been born. I think I was supposed to have been born at the end of the month, I think, or close to it, like February 20th or something like that. So I wouldn't have been an Aquarius. But like my father, me, and my mother are like Aquarius signs. My sister is a Leo.
Al Capone killed a bunch of mafiosos on his birthday. Don't say it; he'll get angry.
I was not aware. Apparently, Al Capone did something on this day. Why did he do? I'm very confused. Why did he do that on Valentine's Day? I was just freaking say it. That's weird. Why do you know this information? That's an odd thing to know about Valentine's Day. Or am I the weird one? I don't know. Just that's like an odd thing to know about Valentine's Day. I wish that was the bot and not like Stream Elements, but that I wrote XOG and I probably shouldn't have said we. I don't know why I automatically typed we when I made that message. I actually change that like right now if I really wanted to. My eyes are stuck in my eye. What the heck? I'm trying to get it. I've been trying to get out this entire time. This stuff doesn't make any sense. Like, why on a day about love do you think about killing people? You could do that any other day. Like, why did he just suddenly decide I'm gonna go lose it on a couple of pedestrians on this day?
Al Capone is not like exactly well adjusted. Maybe he thought it'd be more badass to do it on that day.
I felt like I could actually ask him. He probably wouldn't even tell me even I could ask him. He's probably give me a stink eye. And then shoot me.
Yeah, it's more memorable that way. It makes more of an impact on the Day of Love to have a massacre.
The Columbine wasn't memorable? Too soon?
What did you say?
It was what Columbine wasn't memorable?
It was pretty memorable. It stuck around. Have things been okay in what way?
I think I talked to anybody about what's been going on with you. No one's really asked.
No one's really asked about me.
No, I mean, people say you're okay. I'd say, yeah, you're okay.
No.
Is it routine?
XLG, I deal with a lot of depression, and that's not doing so great. And I was laid off from my job after only 10 weeks a few months ago, and I've been trying to apply for a new job, and I haven't had any luck. So I've got a couple problems I'm dealing with, but I'm doing okay otherwise.
As you can see, kind of part of like why I haven't really been, because that's information that's information that he can give if he wants to, which he just did. So it's that, like, as I typically try to stay very vague, at least recently. I haven't told Stella that you lost your job, and I'm quite surprised she hasn't asked about you recently. And I'm surprised she didn't ask after you had showed up at the stream last week and then disappeared.
I didn't disappear. I said goodbye.
No, that's what I mean. Well, that's not what I meant to say. You left because you had to go to bed.
I was laying on my back on my laptop, and it was annoying to type. And I felt like I'd gotten my messages out pretty good. And
That's the problem. I mean, I'm not mad. You had to leave. I'm just saying that I know you had things you probably need to get ready to go to bed or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure we were streaming kind of late, like we are right now.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that no one asked or anything. So I guess based on the way you were typing, it wasn't like you were revealing that you weren't feeling, you weren't at you weren't at 100.
Yeah. XLG, I'm sorry to hear about that.
By the way, I know you're still having PayPal issues, which still confuses me why you're still using that. Did you get the money you asked for earlier?
XLG.
Yeah. I sent him 100. Okay, so I want to make sure you didn't say anything after it was sent. He's supposed to send me back, I think 125 Canadian. I think is what his PayPal is getting stuck. I don't understand how Quebec functions or works. Nothing he's told me has made sense. Like, at all. Nothing at all. Like, you know how here in America, Jock, there's multiple ways you can pay for things online. Like you can actually pay directly from your bank account. You can pay through Cash App, PayPal, whatever. Like you're not really prevented from paying different ways. Apparently in Quebec, they're only able to pay online through PayPal, and PayPal's screwing XLG.
That's no fun.
It's just that your wire funds from the bank take 3 to 5 business days. From you, it's instantaneous. It'll be instantaneous to when it's not instantaneous, XLG. I can guarantee you that. It'll eventually get it. I don't know why mines are consistently instantaneous to you. That's a very weird, one-sided problem to have. But, eh. Yeah, apparently Quebec is weird, and I don't understand why it's strictly PayPal that they want to. Maybe there's some tax thing that they're trying to avoid. I have no idea. Your backwaters, and yet you're somehow still using PayPal. It just confuses me to an extent, as you can clearly hear from my tone of voice. It's confused me since the year you told me, I think. Maybe more than a year at this point. Alright, we can review this podcast. We can actually review this episode. Shit, if we review this podcast, we won't be here too long. Uh, review this episode, episode 30 of Ready Kitchen Season 2, Encounter in the Forest. I think I could sum up this episode in one word. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it. It's just wow is the best way to sum it up. Not good, not bad. Kind of what I expected, except for this one bit at the end where I wasn't.
Thanks, XLG. I really appreciate that. I wasn't laid off because of my health or depression. I'm depressed anyway, before and after the job. I can't find any medicines that will help me, which is really frustrating. I just tried ketamine treatments and they didn't do much for me either. So we finally just canceled the last of them. But you know, I appreciate it. I appreciate your situation too. I wish you the best as well. No, it's okay. I don't tell anyone at work that I have depression because you get treated a lot differently if you admit it. So, um, you know what I mean? That wasn't a factor for this. So no need to apologize. Yes, it does. Anyway,
I don't think I've suffered from that. I mean, I've had down days in terms of like just not wanting to draw. I think I've suffered from depression from it. Then again, I suffer from no, I derailed myself. Don't worry about it. Well, my issue is I have the reverse. My mind is consistently thinking about new ideas without my permission. And I know that sounds crazy. But it happens. I think it's part of the reason why. Actually, I could probably talk to you about Sit and Watch a little bit. I do have a question I just not thought about. I'll have to say that for later if I remember later. Crap. What was it? I was on a. You said my brain did it again. I was on something and immediately, like, I don't know. I think I subconsciously think of ideas because sometimes I have like random ideas, like, oh, that'd make a good comic. Because like I don't want to make any more than I'm currently making because I've had issues. You wouldn't believe how many series I've actually made that weren't really series that I had an idea that was hyped for, that I started working on, and then as I started working on it, came to a wall that dead ended it everything. Like there's so many Trash King to I already told some people about that. There's another one called Rebel East. I don't think I told anybody about that. I know I have more, I'm blanking on them right now. Oh yeah, I have like a Sailor Moon-esque one. I feel like I have two of them. One of them people know about. No XOG. I haven't let it unfinished. I'm currently still working on it. I just don't tell anybody about what I'm. I think the only person that knows anything about where I'm at right now, and that is Stella. And just for clarification for you, XOG, I'm not really that far from where I left off last time. I'm still working on side quests because that's the best way to level up in that game. And these side quests can be very long sometimes. And really hard to complete because they're taking me to parts of the map I've never been to, and because I've never been to them, they're really hard to find. So, there's that. So I haven't done much since saving Pyra. No need to apologize. I mean, I never told anybody. I'm playing it on my free time during the weekend. That's typically where I disappear to when it's the weekend. That and other games that I'm playing during the weekend. But okay, first episode here begins as we try to get back on the rails here. Episode pretty much begins with Sonosuke. Wait, does it? Hold up. Let me just. Yeah, it just begins with we pick up with Sonosuke back in the woods where he got lost apparently. I don't think we've seen him since he left where he was originally in the woods. And then we see Sonosuke here like traveling on the. Oh, I didn't know he was traveling on an actual like charted path. I thought he was just running through the trees, not caring about what path he was on. I was wondering about that. But okay, but yes, we see Sonosuke is like running through the forest, trying to get to Kyoto. Doesn't know where he's at, wondering if he's heading in the right direction for Kyoto. And obviously, well, I guess I shouldn't say obviously he's not, because he was. I mean, as we learn later on, he was very close to a town in between where he was at and where Kyoto is. So he was able to do that. He also makes the comment that this forest seems familiar, which also that will become more apparent later on. Huh. So I got a question, I guess, for just trying to get an observation out of you, Sphere. As we see Sonosuke is like thinking about like, you know, where he's at and thinking about where Kenshin is, if Kenshin's gotten to Kyoto. You notice that after Kenshin, his thought immediately floats to Megumi.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really means anything, but it's just kind of interesting. He could be thinking about Karu but no, he decides the idea his brain's gonna float to is her.
I've been shipping those two for a long time now, though.
I wasn't aware of this information, but okay, well.
I've been talking about that for a long time.
I must have forgotten then. No, I must have just forgotten.
No, okay.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that like after Kenshin, his thought immediately flows to Megumi.
Yeah. Well, just additional evidence that maybe there's something between them.
I mean, she was in a trade that he despises. So, I mean, honestly, sorry for that. Considering that maybe there is something from the very beginning there, but I don't know. It did seem kind of interesting because he didn't seem to show any. Not even just like he wanted to be friendly with her. He did not like her when he first met. Okay. But after that, you know, Sanosuke
I
decides to,
mean, not liking each other when they first met is like almost like a cliche in the like ship of love. It's almost a cliche in romance like settings to like have them not like each other at first.
yeah, that's true. I can't really deny that. Yeah, how all the best relationships start in anything is like they don't like each other at first, and you start learning about each other. But it's like, I mean, she was involved in, what was it she doing? I forgot what she was making. Was she making? It wasn't weed. It was something else. Opium.
You have to bang it out.
Well, they didn't do that. That's for sure. At least not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. It's on the way.
Dang it. Well, I mean, first she's got to get over her, I guess, her minimal attraction to Kenshin. If there's an attraction to Kenshin that she has. I mean, she was hurt that Kenshin didn't say goodbye to her, but went and chose Kyra, so.
Then you just be polyamorous. And she can have them both.
Nah, I don't think Kenshin's too dense for that. And so is Sanosuke. My point has not been proven. I see your ace of clubs. Dang it.
Oh my God.
But after like Sanosuke decides to, because he's lost, he's gonna take a small break and eat the last rice ball, and apparently go get a frog for dinner. But then as he's about to eat, he apparently hears a noise in the distance that causes him to drop his rice ball. He picks it up, and apparently it's muddy as he's eating it. He goes to see what the noise is, and we have, I gotta say, the buffest monk I have ever seen in my life. Like, this guy is like, I don't think monks are supposed to be this ripped, but or even look like this. I feel like I thought those were like bags under his eyes, but no, that must just be like chalk, or not chalk, but some type of like dye, well, not dye. I forgot you call that, so that you would like put on your face, like camouflage and whatnot. But so apparently he's here, I guess praying, I think is what he's doing at first, or he's training his technique, but apparently it causes him to reverberate, you know, like the area around him. And again, also speaking of monks, he also, I think I said this earlier, at first you could definitely tell he's not a normal guy that you should be able to run up on in the middle of the woods. So it is kind of, it has actually kind of suspect that he's out here by himself training. Just not.
He's causing little earthquakes by sticking that dagger into the ground. That's pretty intense training.
I mean, he said he developed his own technique by punching things over and over again. So he managed to develop this technique in you know, in while he was alone. While he was solitarily, while he was out here in solitaire. That's not the word I want to use. Crap. What's the word? Why am I thinking of solitaire? That's not what that's the word. It's kind of related to this, but it's not. No. I guess he was out here in solitary confinement. Is the best way I can put it. There's a word specifically, and I'm blanking on it.
I can't think of a word that you might be thinking of.
I feel like it's there. I just can't think of it. But yeah, like Sanosuke is like shocked that he's out here, finds him, and then he just pretty much tells him like, "Hey, like you ruined my lunch. How about give me dinner?" And he's like, "Okay." And apparently, like, here the first night they're eating lunch, and he start trading information. And we learn more about this monk, and interesting. Another interesting piece of information, I wasn't even aware of this. I knew of like Buddhism in general not really being practiced that much in Japan modern day, and Buddhist not really being a thing, I wasn't aware of the Buddhist abolishment thing that happened to them. Where just, like, that was an actual thing that happened in Japan, where pretty much all Buddhists were converted to, either they were killed or converted over to Shintoism, I think is what it was. And then a lot of their temples and everything were just either converted to Shinto god temples or destroyed.
40,000 temples were destroyed.
So I wasn't aware of this until I watched the episode. I was like, oh, that happened. I knew that Buddhism wasn't something that was practiced anymore, or
In some areas, the percentage of Buddhist temples destroyed was 80%.
so basically, there might be some Buddhism still practiced in Japan, but it definitely isn't their primary religion. I mean, that's obvious because there's a lot of religion in Japan, from Buddhism to Shintoism to whatever. And not in just Japan, just in Asia in general. I should have said Asia in general, but there's a lot of religion practiced over there. I just wasn't aware that Buddhism was actually attacked. I guess I shouldn't be that shocked. What happened with the Germans and the Jews? I wonder if this is the same era that actually happened. I'm not gonna look that up. That's too much work. Oh, I feel bad for that. We learn, that apparently he was a fallen monk, and apparently fallen monks are people that, how do I put this? They strayed, I guess, from the teachings a little bit, but apparently not too far. They just stray where, they weren't afraid to, I guess, dive into the material world, I guess is the best way to put it. How they just weren't they weren't afraid to get their hands dirty, at least from this guy's description. Like they didn't mind getting dirty and fighting and whatnot. So like essentially, like, they were left alone, and they were called fallen monks, so they weren't exactly recognized, I think, by the Buddhists of this era. I was like, I mean, you can just tell that he's not a normal monk anyway. I mean, dude, this guy, he kind of scares me, and I mean, even Sanosuke brings up too that he's got a scary face. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, he is I would not want to meet him in the middle of the woods. That's for sure.
Powerfully built.
Like, yeah, I'm not wrong, right? He's more built than I think a monk would be, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not wrong on that one, because I was like, he's way too muscular for what, like, for just a regular old monk. Because again, I guess there's another second clue that this guy wasn't a regular person in the woods. We get confirmation later on that he ain't, but we'll get the third confirmation here in a minute. So Sanosuke is like, talking to him. Sanosuke brings like, he wants to get stronger, and like, this is after the Buddhist dude here shows him a technique that he's honed out here in the middle of the woods, called the 2-layer technique. And I mean, it sounds more complicated than it really is. It's just a punch that you lay down with the knuckles of your fingers and then straight into the bare knuckles in the back of your hands. And you do that in an instant, apparently, and it causes an instantaneous blow. Basically,
you probably learn that in a week.
Well, Sanosuke does learn this in a week, nearly killing himself, by the way. Apparently learns it at the last second before the monk dude shows up after, apparently, like, and he pretty much doesn't even use the small rock. He just pulverizes the land beneath him. But that's a freaking ridiculous technique that Sanosuke has learned, and will definitely be useful much later on. But that was kind of like what I've been waiting for in terms of Sanosuke, was that technique. Because I remembered the technique, but what I didn't remember the name, because for some reason I kept on in my mind thinking it was the 8-layer technique. That's not what it was. Though, who knows, maybe what I'm remembering is something much later. I had no idea. I can't confirm that's a real thing or not, but whatever in my mind, I was thinking about 8 layers. I don't know why the 8 layers. I can't imagine that that punch could be more complicated in the long run later on, but who knows. But Sanosuke's potential is kind of starting to be shown too, right? Because I mean, early on in the show, I think season 1, some guy mentioned to Kenshin that Sanosuke had potential to get stronger. So we'll see what that technique is. I mean, he also explains too, like how he doesn't like want to use a sword because everybody around him knows how to use a sword and they're way more skilled at it than he would be. There'd like to be there would be a gap in skill that he would never be able to close. Which makes sense. I mean, if you want to be as useful as you possibly can, don't use something you're not really used to doing. If brawling is what you're used to. But before all that, we see like the training between like Sanosuke trying to learn that move, and apparently the bet was to learn it in a week or he'll die. And I'm guessing based on the information and the wording going on, as the Buddhist dude kept on checking on him, it sounded like he was going to kill him.
He was gonna kill him? Oh yeah.
Guess what it sounded like. The Buddhist was like he was going to be the one to kill him.
But they never explain why he wants to do that. They just kind of like apparently doesn't even want to do that. But like I don't understand why death is like.
Well, that's what Sanosuke said. He wanted to risk his life to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
He said like I'll either learn this in a week or die. I mean, this guy isn't really like afraid to do that. I mean, as we again learn later on, he is one of the 10 swords that Shisho was calling back to Kyoto to prepare to fight Kenshin. And that caught me off guard because I remembered this guy. I didn't remember his story significance. And I will say this much. I thought we weren't going to see him again. I was like, well, this is kind of sad. Because later on we get his name. And I'm like, that's sad. We're not going to see him again. That's a waste of a character. And then Sanosuke just walks off, and then the kid shows up, and he's like, "Oh hey, hey, I found you. Shisha, what you back at Kyoto?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" So Sanosuke's gonna see him again, but not under the best of circumstances.
No, not at all. Or it'll be interesting when they meet again too, because the I don't know. It'll be interesting because they were kind of met on good terms. You know what I mean? Like he fed him, he taught him a technique and everything, and gained respect for him when he won like in a week and everything, and they kind of had like a little bit of bonding going on there. So it'll be kind of interesting when they meet up again as foes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I like honestly, I think all this is really was telling us that he's not a bad dude, and I'm guessing like maybe this is just one of those. It's a precedent that they're setting that maybe not all the 10 swords are going to be bad people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of reach, but I mean, if this one dude who you met, is not that bad of a person, and he might be just as evil, who knows? But he's a decent individual as we met before. He doesn't know anything about Sanosuke, like at all, and he's still, as you said, willing to teach him his technique that he's honed over the years. Speaking of Sanosuke learning this technique over the course of the week that he's been learning it, his hand has been getting bloodier and bloodier.
Yeah, and mangled a little bit.
Maybe that's what it takes to learn this technique. Because I mean, if you saw the dude who's the technique is the owner of, his hands are bandaged. So he had been doing this technique a long, long time before he managed to master it. This is Sanosuke managed to master it much quicker than he did, and he made the technique up. It seems to be the...
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. An alert just went off, and I'm not getting a notification for what that alert was. Maybe we were just raided, but I don't know why I'm not getting the notification that we were raided. What the devil just happened?
I don't know. Elizabar is usually the one that raids us.
If we were raided, it didn't show anything.
It didn't.
Elizabar is here. But I don't know if he's live anymore. He may not. Let me check that out. That is a weird... You may have me on in the background just for the viewership thing. I had a thought process and I completely lost it with that notification noise. I'm sorry. I'll get back on it. I just need to remember it now that I've lost it. Saying something about Sanosuke and I don't remember. Crap. No, but Lazarus is not live anymore. It looks like that he's hosting me, so I guess the notification was eaten. And I don't know why. Because I don't have... It's not like none of the notifications I have are off. Oh boy, I hate when things break and I don't know why they break. Alright. Maybe they'll come in eventually. I have no idea. They ended kind of early, interestingly enough. But crap. I guess it was Sanosuke's bloody hand I was on a tangent about. I completely forget. Maybe Sanosuke learned this technique from a guy who he'll learn later on, and I suspect he'll want to fight. Later on when it comes to the 10 swords. I think this episode showed one thing, and one thing I actually enjoyed of Sanosuke was the fact that Sanosuke, he has a drive to learn anything, and he won't stop until he learns it. So he was positive that he would get this in 1 week, and he barely did.
We've never seen him with an opportunity to learn something before.
Repeat that again.
We've never seen him with an opportunity to learn something before. This is his first time, and he eats it up.
Well, one of the I think not Shisho, but Ayoshi's been mentioned that's one of the guys from the Oniwabaran gang. They may mention that Sonosuke had potential to get stronger. I think this is like the opportunity that it was necessary for him to get stronger. I suspect there's probably more to this technique than it's like at any given moment. Maybe he'll learn it when he fights that guy again. I need to get an actual name from him because he does give us his name. I don't get the point well, before he gets to that. I think it was probably like a night before the Sanosuke was trying to learn this technique the last day. He sees the ghost of his old mentor, telling him that you've done enough, give up. And Sanosuke pretty much has a flashback of and we get it. We get more of a confirmation that Sanosuke does hate the Meiji government, and I mean that never left him. And apparently he has such a strong hatred for them that they never forgave them after they had his head on a pike in the middle of a town to show that they killed him, and they don't want no one else to stand up against him ever again. Which works because no one else does. But Sanosuke never forgave them for that, and as his ghost of his mentor, which I'm guessing that's what that was. that goes to his mentor, because like, he didn't know where he was until later on. And apparently this was like the old stomping grounds of that resistance, which was interesting. So like, I mean, this is a fantasy show. I mean, the ghosts of people showing up can be expected, I guess. Kind of interesting in my opinion, but you know. But it's like, it's kind of weird though. Like, it seems like his mentor wanted him to stop, but Sanosuke walks past him and says, "I'm alone," and he just sees him. You just see him smiling, and it's like, huh? Are you just trying to get his resolve or something like that? But yeah, I mean, we haven't had an opportunity for Sanosuke to learn anything, so the fact that he's really willing to do this is really cool. And you know, the part of this is like, you know, he wants to protect everybody's happiness. It's interesting now I'm noticing this little thing. Everybody else is like having fun and everything like that. Meanwhile, Megumi is in the middle of all this madness with her fox ears.
With her fox ears?
Yeah, right there. That right there. Those are fox ears.
I didn't get what that moment was, though.
That was just them all having a good time. That's really all that really was.
Was that some sort of flashback, though?
No, that's just I think that's just something that, you know, he wants them to be able to do in the future, I think. It's just a moment that he would like to, you know, everybody else to experience together and whatnot. He values their friendships and stuff like that, and people that he's met. That's not the restaurant lady is also in the center of all of this, along with Megumi, but Megumi's more hidden. I'm not gonna infer anything from any of this information. Just thought it was interesting. You can infer all you want, considering that apparently you're shipping those two. I mean, not that I'm not. It's just one of those, like, I'm not actively. It's like, I don't know. I'm waiting for Sanosuke to show some interest in her first before I commit to anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yayako, I'm gonna ship him and that girl. All I want. I'm sorry. Those two are really cute together. I don't care. I don't give it.
Yahiko?
Yeah, Yahiko and that other waitress girl, the young waitress girl.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm gonna ship those two no matter what. Nobody can stop me. If you want to stop me, I like to see you try, preferably with no guns or knives. All right, but I had a little moment of like, you know, he says goodbye to his mentor because he's glad to see him again, even if it is just a ghost. And then the day passes over. Sanosuke is on his back with a bloody hand, and the Buddhist guy says, "Huh, he died. Guess I will send him off to the afterlife." Which I guess is another thing too, considering that he's a fallen monk and everything like that. It's interesting that he still follows a lot of like traditional Buddhist, you know, Buddhist stuff. So again, he hasn't like left it. It's just that, you know, the things that he's doing aren't exactly recognized, I guess, by the Buddhist temple and whatnot. So he's out here by himself, practicing up on it, I guess everything, praying by himself and stuff like that. So he hasn't given up on it, even though, I mean, he even says that he's still looking for salvation. He's just looking for it in a different way.
Yeah.
So again, not a bad dude. I love that they still keep that going. They could easily have him be a dick, but no, they kept with the whole idea that he's not a bad person. So I'm guessing like his inclusion in the 10 swords might just be an unfortunate situation. Like maybe something happened and he needed to join Shishio for some really odd reason.
Maybe they were all decent.
Nah, I'm not gonna. It's possible, but I'm not gonna.
Or maybe being a 10 sword has nothing to do with how good a person you are.
Well, I was never under that delusion, but I can see what you mean. I'm just surprised as someone, like, I mean, he's really freaking strong, which I think is a clear testament of, like, why he's a part of the group, but I'm just shocked that he is, and considering the type of person Shisho has shown himself to be at the very moment. It's like,
And
huh?
swords seems like it must be some sort of metaphor too, because there's nothing very sword-like about him or his like fighting style so far.
Well, I'm pretty sure that is the case, 100%. But I don't suspect that he will have a blade. I think that'd be a waste of like the training that he did with that technique. But then again, he also never intended for people to learn it. So the fact that he passed it on to somebody was also probably like a different thing too.
Yeah.
He shows up there about to, send him off to the afterlife. Someone's like, "Hey, don't think I'm dead yet." And he's like, "Well, based on that rock in your hand, you haven't mastered it, so I guess I'm going to kill." And he says, "Wait a minute!" Tosses a rock in the air, and it does the technique on the ground and pulverizes the land beneath him, turning into sand. Like, geez, he learned. And apparently, as this guy is in awe, Sanosuke says, like, don't toss this off as something as like raw talent, which I found like, huh, interesting. He considers this being raw talent as an insult. I guess maybe you would think that if you spent all this time trying to learn this, and somebody comes up to tell you, is like, "Oh my god, you're a prodigy." No, I had to spend an entire week having to bang my hand against rocks. I guess in reality, that is true. It's just kind of interesting that Sanosuke does not want to be considered a prodigy or whatever, or somebody with actual talent. It was like he shocked him, and as Spirit earlier said, they got respect for each other after all this, which is gonna be really set. This is that hand, that skin is like, good lord. I mean, like the only thing on his hand right there is his fingertips. Everything else is just the raw skin underneath your hand without the protective barrier.
Maybe a little bone.
No, I don't see any bone. It's like a giant scab is what that is.
As much respect as he earns for him, he calls him a fledgling, I think he called him. When he was walking off, he was like how much he's changed so much. He was like a little like newly hatched bird at first, and now he's like a fledgling. So,
I thought that was greater respect, though. I mean, he's a bird now. Or
but I
fledglings,
mean,
not birds.
but the way that he still called him, like, he's taken a big step for himself, but he's still a beginner.
And that's why I suspect there's probably more. The technique's probably more complicated than just like. Because I mean, he's been out here for a long time. By himself, from the sounds of it, just sitting there performing a Kama Sutra on the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more to the technique. Because I mean, like you said before, he was vibrating the earth when he met him. So it's like something about that tells me there's more to his technique than he's letting on. And he only ever intended. He never, first of all, never intended to teach anybody anything. And then two, when Sanosuke, wouldn't let off, he decided to give him the first lesson in his technique, and we'll probably see what that technique really is supposed to be capable of versus just pulverizing the land. I would say this much: this technique can kill somebody. This technique can kill a grown man. And Sanosuke has learned it in a full week. Things are gonna get really interesting.
It'd probably do more than kill him, man.
We're just gonna go as far as killing man. This is a PG-13 show.
Powderize a man. Turn a man into powder.
Turn him into string cheese. Turn him into yogurt. Turn him into bowl of cereal. Turn him into it.
Holy crap.
Turn him into a yolk. Turn him into a fried egg. Turn him into an omelet.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? I mean, that's just one hand. Like,
Turn him into a salad or a Buddha batter.
ugh, 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 ugh. Ugh. I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know what that is. But after that, Sanosuke picks up his stuff and he's like ready to go. And I think, what's his name? I forget his name. Well, Angie. I pronounced that, and I think of Angemon from Digimon, and we're not gonna go that far. I wonder how Digi's doing. But he lets him know that his name is Angie, and as you know, Sanosuke walks off. He makes mention that he's trying to get to Kyoto. He tells him the direction. There's a town in between here and Kyoto that he can go to the rest for the day. He makes mention of the town. I think it's Nakasando or something like that. I forgot the name of the town. Shimosua. And like Sanosuke's like, "Would you just say Shimosua?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." He's like, he just laughs because he's remembering that apparently this is like around the town that he used to kick around when he was younger. And he says like, I'm beginning to believe in fate, even just a little bit, and because of you. And he's like, I hope we meet again if fate allows it. And because an anime can't end without foreshadowing anything, Shishio's man shows up and tells him that Shishio has called all the 10 swords to come back to Kyoto to squad up to deal with the threat. And that's how the episode ends. That ending, it wasn't like the biggest plot twist in the entire thing, in the entire show. Probably not even really that much of a plot twist. I mean, you could assume that something was up with that man, but like you didn't know if you were going to see him again because the story was very vague, especially with Sanosuke's interaction with him. We didn't learn that much about him. We learned enough that made us intrigued. But the fact that he was a part of like the villains group is interesting. And I kept on powdering on the fact that he seemed to be shown as a good dude. So I don't know how that's going to turn up. I suspect that like whatever he's doing with the 10 swords, there's a reason for it, and he'll end up fighting Sanosuke, obviously, and they'll have their brawl, and Sanosuke will probably beat him, or narrowly beat him, or he'll turn on him. I don't know. I'm making all kinds of assumptions. So I do not remember any of this. This is a bit of information I really did not remember. Which is actually kind of a shock considering how much I like this show. This little bit is like something. Sanosuke's whole like training arc and everything like that, I don't remember a lot about it. All I really remembered is the technique. That is it. So the interaction with this guy was like, I remember there was a big dude he was talking to, but I could have sworn he was at a temple and not in the middle of the woods. So like that was already like, oh, that's strange. And I thought he was an older man too, like a guy with a beard. The guy was obviously in his like 80s. Now, that's not saying that this dude can't be that old, but based on his build and the fact that he's shaved and everything like that, he doesn't look all that old. I'm suspecting he's maybe in his 40s, 50s. But he'll be younger than that based on how built he is. But yeah, it was what I remembered was completely wrong. The only thing I remembered that was correct was the technique. So the fighting technique is the one thing that stuck with me. I don't know how I should feel about that, but I'm just glad I remembered anything. So again, all I said before was all speculation. I do not know. I mean, based on what's going on right now, he's always going to fight him. How it's going to pan out is like where I'm very confused. So who knows? I'm going to leave the floor to you before we end the episode. If you have anything to say, and I will shut my pie hole.
If I could be a vegetable, I would be a carrot.
Anything more to say about the episode?
Oh, I'm sorry. You
That was
left
my
it open. You left it open ended. You said anything more to
yeah.
say?
I know. Just I should have realized the moment I said it, and knowing you, my
Um,
bad.
you had mentioned at one point that this show reminded you of Trigon, and I said it didn't to me at all. But I find this interesting that they're doing the 10 swords, because it reminds me of the gung ho guns in Trigon, where there was a group of people that like served the big bad guy, and like came in with each of their own sets of techniques and things like that. And similarly with the gun ho guns, not everyone fought with a gun. Like there was like one that fought with a saxophone, for example. So, and did like sound-based attacks. So I think it's kind of interesting that we have like that parallel here with that, like the gung ho guns and the 10 swords. And I remember that they just kind of like the whole tone, once the gung ho guns came into the scene, the whole tone of this series changed for Trigon. And I'm curious if like their entrance into this is going to change the whole thing for Kenshin. Kenshin's in a very weak, vulnerable position right now with the 10 swords coming in. He doesn't even have a sword himself. So the breakdown is kind of coming in. You know what I mean? Where like he's shown himself a new type of vulnerable with his sword being breakable, and he's got he's got to find a sword in time for to be able to defend himself from these guys, and he doesn't even know that they're coming. What do you think?
Well, actually, I want to address something. You made mention of like the group of 10 individuals. The idea of that. I made mention in the past. I think in this, I made mention this in episode. I mean, season 1, that Kenshin, the original run. This show was old. This isn't a new idea. This show had already had its run pretty much early on in the early 2000s. During that point, there was a lot of shows and anime doing that whole idea. Um, funny that apparently I'm guessing Trigun was among the first. I'm guessing based on what you just told me just now, because I do not. I remember the name Gung Ho Guns, the saxophone. I don't remember. I feel like that should have stuck with me. That's disappointing.
You didn't watch the whole series though.
No, I did.
You did, and you don't remember the saxophone?
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember. I think when I'm thinking about it more, I remember Vash. Is it Vash? Is his name? Vash fighting his brother. That one, that whole thing. You know, that stuck with me. The saxophone.
Mid Valley the Horn Freak. The guy's name was Mid Valley the Horn Freak. He was the 11th Gung Ho Gun.
That should have stuck with me. I don't know why it didn't. That is weird. I feel like that anime should have stuck with me more. It's based off the fact that fighting the saxophone. But okay, well, whatever. That's the more you know, the more I didn't learn apparently. But so basically the whole idea of like based on Trigun, maybe there's some other shows are doing it before Trigun. Trigun isn't the first anime in the world, so. But like early on in anime during the 2000s and like maybe in the 90s, the whole idea of a group of people, individuals. So Kenshin just falls within this time period that this trope was a thing that was being used over and over again. So yeah, the group of 10 is kind of what you're thinking. Now, if it changes the direction of the show, I don't remember. I do remember Shishio was really important, and I remember like I think Shishio himself does change the tone of the show a bit. I also do know that once we get past Shishio, I think there's like only one more villain, quote unquote. I want to say, but it's a villain in an arc that I never got a chance to watch or read. Because this is after Shishio's over. That's when the anime, the first run, decides to do filler and make their own story ending to the anime for that reason. I don't know why a lot of anime had that happen to them. Dragon Ball Z was the only one I think that went through everything with filler and still survived and still kept on with the original ending of the show. Who knows? But yeah, like Rurouni Kenshin had that issue where they cut off from the main canon and then divert into something else. So like I don't know, but what I wanted to also say too is the point I was reading, beyond the next one, I know the creator mentioned that apparently the direction this was gonna go, it was gonna get darker, and apparently I think it was gonna. He said it sounded like it was gonna start diverging from shonen. So I don't even know what it was gonna turn into if he had continued with it. But I think he said he's happy with where he ended it. So whatever happens after here, I think is the finale of everything. Whatever final villain he's got to deal with, whoever that is. I kind of already know a little bit because high school me really got involved. Was it high school me? I think maybe it was college me. Whatever version of me got really involved in this. I was hoping that I could find anywhere on the internet where they did the final arc of this stuff. Part of me wishes I just went in and read it because I would have forgotten it by now. But it would have been nice to be able to get closure on this show.
Yeah.
Closure I never got. So again, I'm hoping that once we're beyond Shisho, they don't end it again. Because I'm going to be really upset and sad. And I'll probably in the corner for the rest of eternity. Because I never got... But I could just go and read it and finish it, get closure. So, I mean... I would like to watch it. It's basically like, I just want to watch it play out. So we'll see. I'm hoping that they didn't bring back Rurouni Kenshin just to end it after Shisho. There's gonna be some strongly worded letters if they do that. But in the second one, you had what was the second part of your question? Oh, actually, the only question because I went and diverged on something else. Oh, it was about Kenshin and his and I guess his sword. Yeah, I mean he's gonna get another sword. I mean, he sounds like he has a person in mind. And I'm guessing it's going to be the person who first to Sakabato in the first place. Because I think he made mention in season 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. It sounds like no swordsmith worth their salt would even bother trying to forge a sword backwards because it doesn't serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if that is if that's what he said, that tells me that he already has a swordsmith in mind. And it might be in Kyoto, based on the timing of when his sword broke. And two, if I'm thinking about this correctly, Kyoto is probably where whatever happened to him happened, where he decided to become a Rurouni. I'm guessing, because Shisho kind of made it evident that he really wanted to fight him in Kyoto for some reason. So. Yeah, like to me, it's like if you want to fight Kenshin, you fight him wherever he shows up. Don't make a demand that you fight him in a certain place unless there's a reason for it. And I said the relation, like the trigon that I see with the Rurouni Kenshin. I think it's mostly just the whole idea of Bash and Kenshin to me kind of seems similar, in that they both have a past that. Pretty much they don't like to talk about, and then two, they're really freaking strong, but they're also really carefree. But a lot of that carefreeness comes from the past that they don't want to talk about, so they hide it behind jokes and smiling, or in Kitchen's case, being a dimwit. Sorry, I had to say it. He pretends to be dumb and he's not. So. Like I said, there's one thing I remember about Vash is that he's a very carefree individual, but that's just really just him hiding damage that was done to him when he was younger. So, like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Kenshin. Kenshin fought for the military at 16, 15, I think. He was very young when he was doing it, and then he stopped. But some of the situations we've seen Kenshin when he was younger, back when he was fighting as the Manslayer, you can totally tell that he didn't have this ditzy, I don't know what's going on, like mindset that he has now. He adopted it at some point later on.
Oro?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, that he didn't do that from what I can tell, at least from from the flashbacks we've seen of him. He didn't do any of that. He was actually a very serious person. And you could definitely tell that apparently people like that because he's had several people in his life, well, not one, 3 people at this point, and it's like to come back and fight him and want him to revert back to manslayer. So like, he was a definitely different person to them. I mean, like Saito was really serious. And he believes that only Kenshin can only fight, if he was manslayer again. Shishio thinks the same way. That other dude who kidnapped Kaoru thought the same thing. Like, people really want Kenshin to revert back to the way he was. Meanwhile, Kaoru does not. For obvious reasons, but just a thought to just put out there in the ether. It can stay there and float endlessly, but it's just a thought I'm gonna just place in the ether. But I guess with that, it's the end of the episode, end of the podcast for this week. To America, I'm sorry. I hope better. Nobody's gonna get any of this because like this is gonna be like maybe. Well, no, this is gonna be a week displaced, but it won't matter. I guess really quick we can talk about Daima. Just for here.
Okay. I was wondering if you're gonna get to it.
I mean, we don't really review it. We just talk about it. Weird episode. I'm even more suspicious of Glorio now. I'm pretty sure you're not, but I know I am.
Well, I have to be suspicious of him because of the preview for the next episode.
I did not see a preview for the next episode.
Watch the preview for the next episode. It's like 3 seconds long.
I mean, the episode ended for me. It didn't go any further. Not that I saw. 1 minute. I guess we can all have a look at this together, I guess. History. Daima. Oh, lightning. Oh, I must have I know I had to seen this. Lightning. What in the world is Shin and his got in his hand? That tuna? I do not like the triangle face. Oh yeah, I remember this. I mean, in this preview, I didn't really see anything that's suspicious other than him fighting Goku, but I think that might have just been Goku asking to fight him to train.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw that moment where they were fighting, and it looked like there was something going on with his eyes.
That might have just been the animations. 1 minute, let me go back. They look normal. Huh.
No, they don't look normal.
Be normal for a demon.
See, I can't take a screenshot.
You don't look any different than they, at least to me, they don't.
I wish I could show you the screenshot somehow because it would really make it clear.
I mean, I'm looking at the fight. Unless I'm missing something that is different. You talking about the outline of their eyes? I thought that was always
like that. That's an example. if you look at him in the episode, he doesn't have that outline in his eyes, but he has it in the after thing, like he was possessed by something or something.
Could that just been a trick of the animation?
It could be, but it's drawn in through the whole thing. It's not like one frame or something.
I mean, the Supreme Kai and Kibito change skin tones all the dang time, so I don't know.
I don't see skin tones.
We're just gonna move on. Don't know why I bother you. I don't know why I thought you were gonna at least go with me. Nope, you're gonna make me seem like the dude. Don't know why I thought that you weren't gonna do that. Should know better. But seem like Spring Kai's got the thick outlines around his eyes here. You know, I thought this was just a weird animation because, like, you talking about the eye outline here, like his hands also got that thick outline too here, and this one still.
Yeah, but his eyes are drawn with like a Sharpie.
So is his hands. I mean, I don't know anything about the demon realm, so maybe there's transformations, but I don't know why a transformation would make you look this way, or even possession for that matter. Okay. I don't know. I mean, Growlithe doesn't really hurt my whole suspicion thing, but
And seeing him fight with Goku and having those weird eyes made me have to suspect something's going on with him. I'm not saying it convinced me 100%, but it's an indication.
I'm still suspicious of him just because I still think a random dude of Yamcha's level, if I give him that, just like Yamcha in this world is still very weak. Like, I mean, Krillin's stronger than him, but it's just, to me, I don't think he should be able to fight like random monsters. I get Goku could do it, but if we're comparing Yamcha, if we're saying that his level is as Yamcha, I don't think Yamcha could fight the dinosaurs in Dinosaur Land.
I think so.
Because I mean, all he did was, all I remember him doing was fighting human bandits. So other than that, like I don't think he ever fought an actual. Because early Yamcha didn't even have energy moves and whatnot. He wasn't like trained in actual martial arts at that point.
Yeah, he had energy moves.
Not early Yamcha. I'm talking about Yamcha from Dragon Ball.
Well, that's because we see Yamcha like grow up.
I still don't think Yamcha can fight a dinosaur. I'm being legitimately honest. Because like so far, like every time I think about Yamcha, and I've said this before in the Last Wars Discord, every time I think of Yamcha, like, and this is just like, I mean, this is just an unfortunate, I think, bias my brain has now, because I feel disappointed and let down, by Yamcha in particular, but every time I think of Yamcha, I keep seeing the Cyberman incident, and him laying in the ground in a crater. Now I get the Cybermen are alien plants, so I mean, who could fight that? But I was like, Krillin was able to deal with them. And Krillin's human. So, and maybe a lot of my issue too is I'm comparing him to Krillin when I probably shouldn't, but still, like, Krillin's the only other human, like, in the group besides Tien, if you want to consider Tien human. I don't completely understand Tien. That's another thing that's kind of weird, but I don't know. It's just, so we don't really know how strong the the evil things that exist around here are anyway. Like, according to Gloria, who we probably, I don't know, we should be believing him everything he says, but Gloria says that there's like a death pit underneath that. If you touch it, you die immediately. So
A death pit that if you touch it, you die immediately.
yeah, I mean, like when Goku first got there, Goku was running around. Yeah, that sea of clouds, like you dying when you go down there. That's what he said. But it's just, I don't know, something's always been off about him. It's like, to me, it's like, what was he doing? I mean, now we know that the king didn't exactly recruit him to come and get Goku. So I guess we kind of already knew that because we saw Glorio in Goma's headquarters and sneaking around. But my next question is, what was he doing there to begin with? Like, something's always been off about him. I never completely understood it. Like, he's hiding something. Like, I don't necessarily think he's an evil dude. It's just like, I feel like to me, like, he's stronger than he's letting on. And maybe like the gun is just like, you know, no one thinks a guy with a gun is all that strong. Case in point, you.
It's true.
Like to me, it's just like, and then I mean, even Supreme Kai is like, I mean, granted, again, I said this before, and I'll keep on saying it. Supreme Kai's record about who's dangerous isn't the greatest.
Well, that's true, but he has.
So it's like, I honestly, I'm not really basing my suspicion off of Supreme Kai. I just, something's off about Gloria, in my honest opinion. But like, Supreme Kai says something's wrong too. But again, Supreme Kai's record isn't great, so who knows? Has something to say? Sorry.
I was gonna say Supreme Kai seems very confident in Goku, whereas he wasn't in the past. So maybe he's gotten a little bit of learning.
Well, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, he been panicking about all through Z about Majin Buu this, Majin Buu that, Babidi this, Babidi that, Deborah this, Deborah that.
Yeah.
I would hope he gotten some confidence in Goku by this point. You know something? I guess before we leave here, this is something I saw in a Dragon Ball Reddit. And I think it happened to me when I was looking through like Sparking Zero stuff. But I happened to see, this is just kind of funny to me because it just kind of it's interesting to think back on Dragon Ball Z and some of the things that happened. We learned later on that Supreme Kai's life and Beerus's life are like one and the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody brought up an interesting point that during, do you remember the incident with Goku and Vegeta? Vegeta became like got mind control to get a power boost, and he had killed those humans, and like pretty much he wanted to fight Goku, have his fight then and there. So Supreme Kai was like, "Are you serious?" and got in the way of Goku, and Goku threatened Supreme Kai's life by putting his hand up in front of his face, threatening to kill him. Somebody brought up, like, Goku almost killed Beerus without even knowing he existed. I thought that was actually kind of funny. Because it's like, that's actually kind of true. He killed Supreme Kai, Beerus would just be dead. They would never met. Battle of the Gods would have never happened. I just thought that was kind of funny. It was like the things you think about in hindsight about some information that gets dropped that seems kind of innocuous at the time, but it's like, okay, so what? The Supreme Kai is connected to you, and just keep him protected. But when you think about what Goku almost did earlier on, it was like Goku almost ended Beerus' life. It must suck to be a destroyer and know that the Supreme Kai needs to be protected at all costs. Oh, you're dead. Like, can you imagine living like that?
No, I can't. That would be so frustrating. You got this big ass like weak spot. The only good thing is that Shin can hold his own against a lot of people, just not anyone at Goku's level.
Well, have we seen Supreme Kai fight? I don't think we have. Am I not remembering a fight? Please enlighten me, because I don't remember Supreme Kai ever fighting.
He's been very no. I've never seen him fight, but he's been very confident about his fighting skills. When he first came out, he was like positive that he could kick the ass of anybody that went up against him.
Maybe he could,
And
if I'm being really honest. Maybe it's just one of those. I mean, again, I'm not gonna. Again, Supreme Kai doesn't have a track record that can be trusted,
mhm.
which is the worst part about his character. He's this all-powerful, all-knowing deity, but we really can't trust his track record because he's been really wrong about a lot of things. But though I will say to his credit, it's not that he was wrong because he thought he was right. He was only wrong because he didn't really know about the people in his universe. So it's one of those things where unfortunately it was because his ignorance that led him to be wrong. But I'm pretty sure he was happy to be wrong. But maybe it's one of those things with Supreme Kai. It's like, because we don't know how strength works with these people, because a lot of these high level deities don't really fight. We only really see them use like world altering abilities. We haven't seen Supreme Kai do any of that, but I would, based on his level of like what his rank is, he probably doesn't have the most world altering abilities, but I would say maybe he's stronger than you think he would be. Which I guess honestly probably wouldn't be that much. Again, when I think about Supreme Kai, I don't ever think about him fighting. But when he said that I can fight too, I was like, can you? That was my literal question. I literally sat there and asked, "Can you?" Because I don't think I remember him fighting. But yeah, you're right. When he first showed up, he was very confident. He had a smug aura about him when he first showed up.
He wasn't surprised when Piccolo surrendered, declined to fight him.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight, and Piccolo got too afraid.
Right.
But was that because he was afraid of his strength, or he was afraid of hurting a deity?
I think he wasn't afraid of him. I think he was not going to punch his boss because that was a higher up deity than him.
Well, that's what I meant, like him afraid of hurting a deity. Like, he didn't want to punch, as you said, punch God. He didn't want to. Jeez, that's a sentence. But
It was a superior ranking, like holy creature, holy being. So I doubt that he wanted to do it, but I don't think he was afraid to do it.
I'm gonna say he was afraid to do it because, like, even with that being said, Piccolo's smug enough to punch a God in the face. If I'm being real about it. I mean, he probably wouldn't do it because of Kami holding him back, but I think if Kami wasn't there, I'm pretty sure he would do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that's really just Kami. Because, like, I don't think Piccolo, Armor Jr., because that's his actual name, uh, he probably wouldn't care. But, yeah, I hope that maybe. Oh, I guess another thing I just wanted to bring up. Last week I had, well, sometime I forgot. I went back and watched that episode where they went through the insect things because I wanted to check something out because I know people were talking about fusion and I wanted to really make sure that's what actually was going on. Well, not only that's what's going on. Did you notice the little image that they had next to the fusion bugs? Something I don't know why nobody else caught this. At least not that I could see. Nobody ever brought this up. But next to the fusion bugs, the picture next to it, the selling image they said that they usually tell you what's going to happen with this beetle. There are 3 people in it. There were 3 individuals in that thing. I think this thing confused 3 people at once. I don't know who, but that would definitely be a new type of fusion. Hello?
I'm here.
No, I mean, you just didn't give a reaction.
That would be a different type of fusion. If there were 3 people involved.
I just think that's impressive, though, because I don't think... Because, I mean, up to this point, we only had 2 people fuse. And unless
How would we have a 3-person fusion again?
Huh?
How would we have a 3-person fusion again?
the bug from like you remember when the Goku and the gang were walking after they had their plane robbed, and they walked and they ran into a shop in the middle of nowhere that
You said you have to eat half of it. You each have to eat half of it.
I'm very confused because that image they had was three people in it. Like they had a person in the middle and then two people on the side. Now I guess maybe that could be interpreted as there's a that person in the middle is the fuse, but I don't think that's how that was being interpreted, or that's what was shown there. Let me go back really quick because I guess since we're already here. Wait, I went right over it. How did I go over it? I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's at 8:58 in episode 4.
Oh, I do see. There's three people in the picture.
Yeah, there's three people, and there's that, and the fuse is over here. The big muscular dude doing the whatever pose that is.
Mm-hmm.
That is three people. I don't know if anybody ever caught on to that. I think it's a new type of fusion. Maybe they did, and they just didn't bring it up. But I didn't notice this when I was first watching it. It's just interesting that okay, like now I'm a little bit more interested in the fusion because at first I really wasn't. To be really honest, because like, how could this be any different than the normal two fusion? Is that what they were just trying to give an alternate? You know, the only thing that would make it different is that we give them the pointy horns. But this could be different. I mean, adding a third person to the fused body, that'd be interesting. And on top of that, just
Yeah.
that I think it triples their power, or something like that. Like it gives them a significant boost. Just like that's freaking cool. I mean, I think it's Goku and Vegeta for this. The third person could be, I'd say throw Piccolo in there.
Gohan.
Gohan isn't the part of the thing. I don't think he's ever going to show up. I don't think Gohan's going to show up. I think Gohan's too busy trying to study in his 1-year-old body.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Gohan was always the closest to appear to Goku and Vegeta.
I think Piccolo could work. Especially, and this is the other thing too. I don't think that bug has the roles that the Patori earrings have or the fusion dance does.
Uh-huh.
They don't ever bring those a role to like there's like you gotta be similar body. And in my opinion, Piccolo will be the best one because well he's an Namekian, and then two he also comes from here, so a fusion with him in it that comes from the place that he was originally from would make a lot of sense. And it's very similar based on like now I'm actually thinking, but it's very similar to Namekian fusion. But I don't think Piccolo could do that to them because they're not Namekian. In this case, they can force it here. And I don't think it'd be permanent. I hope not.
Yeah.
Bulma and Chi-Chi would not be happy about this. Or they could do it with Shin, but I don't know about that. Because I mean, Shin does come from the Demon Realm too, so. Or maybe it's not Goku Vegeta at all. Maybe it's three characters we haven't seen yet that we haven't considered.
Piccolo, Guru, and
Yuri ain't alive.
they'll bring him back for a day. He can have a day back on Earth, like with a halo and stuff. Piccolo, Guru, and Lord Slug.
Lord Slug doesn't exactly exist in this canon yet, but he doesn't exist.
Piccolo, Nail, and Dende.
Dende's a baby, and Nail's already fused with them.
There's a fusion that you can have 3 or more of.
What?
Namekian fusion.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is the equivalent of a Namekian fusion. But I don't think Piccolo can do it to anybody else but a Namekian, right? So if Piccolo
Yeah,
were included in this fusion, which is my theory, it'd be the only way he could fuse with Goku and Vegeta, other than fusion dance, which doesn't work because they're too different in height. Though, isn't Vegeta shorter than Goku?
a little bit.
That always confused me how that dance worked for those two, but okay, whatever. Yeah,
Piccolo,
Piccolo
can get giant. Piccolo can get giant size. Can he also shrink down? We've never seen it.
That, in the words of Piccolo, what purpose would that serve? Because like, the giant is already a bluff. What is the tiny even a bigger bluff?
Hide in the toilet and watch Bulma poop. That's what Master Roshi did with it.
Wait, what? Rewind that back?
When Master Roshi got a hold of it, he went in the bathroom to watch Bulma poop.
Got a hold of what?
A shrinking, something that would allow you to shrink to a small size.
Was this in Dragon Ball or Z?
Super, I think.
There are so many things in Super, and right now the only thing coming to mind, well, no, I'll say a couple things come to mind, but none of them have anything to do with Master Roshi shrinking himself. They get in the bathroom with Bulma. That is an odd thing to remember. I'm impressed that you did. But still, it's a really weird thing to remember.
You asked what would they do with a shrinking thing, and I'm like, well, that's what they did with a shrinking thing last time.
What would Piccolo do? Is what I was saying. Like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, well, now we gotta at least now this because I saw this last week and I wanted to really talk about it. I didn't bother texting you because like, well, this isn't something to text them about.
If Piccolo could decrease his size a little bit, then he could be the right height for fusion. He wouldn't be too tall to do the fusion technique.
I guess becoming bigger isn't any different than maybe shrinking yourself. So maybe he could. I don't know why he would do that again. Besides out of the fusion technique necessity, but like, there's still other people that are better suited to fuse with Goku, and I'm sorry, Piccolo isn't one of them. Even just looking beyond Vegeta, like Gohan could work. I almost said Krillin, but we know that won't work. Here's a situation. Oh, poor Krillin. Hey, you think Goku considered fusing with Piccolo? But then he said, never mind, green skin.
He thought it, but as a joke. Like it was a joke moment in the show.
I know in a game I think they did Goku. I think either that or somebody made fan art. Either way, that's somewhere on the internet. It exists. Pick on or Goku. Hey, so before we leave here, because we're crouching on, we're a little 2 hours over. It's actually Dende. I wanted to actually bring that up really quick because like that. I guess that's something that happened in this episode that I found interesting. I think before we did not know or we misunderstood why Goma took Dende. I was under the impression that I think he wanted to prevent, them from using the Dragon Balls on Earth, so they took Dende away. But I guess thinking about that now, that doesn't make any sense. Why would taking Dende away stop the Dragon Balls from working? I think he just needs to be alive for them.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
So actually, it was he wanted Dende to make them Dragon Balls. But I think what's funny, and I find this kind of funny because I remember this as this was happening. Didn't Dende wasn't because I remember wasn't the Dragon Balls that were still using, aren't those still commies? Is it that Dende warped them? Because Dende couldn't make Dragon Balls because he wasn't like old enough to do that technique, or he wasn't like he didn't know how to, like he wasn't taught.
Dende might not be able to make them yet, but I don't know. But he can work with existing ones.
Yeah, wasn't it? He just either he didn't
Oh
know the
no, 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 no!
technique.
I remember. He said that he would use the existing ones. That way, he wouldn't have to make new ones.
So he could make them at that. He could still make them when he was on the Earth. Okay, I thought he said he couldn't because of some situation.
But it's kind of implied, like throughout the show, that like one Namekian only can only maintain one pair of Dragon Balls.
Has it?
I mean, well, it's never. There's never been one. There's never been like one Namekian with two pairs. And I don't know. It's just I've always gotten the vibe that like that was just kind of an understood.
I mean, here's my thought on that whole thing. No one's ever asked, so no one's ever come up with an answer. And unfortunately, because Akira's dead, is Toritara's gonna have to, and I don't know what Toritara would do. So, though I will say, I'm not entirely sure. I keep on mentioning that Akira passed, but I do know that he definitely did do work before he had passed on Dragon Ball Daima. I don't know where his influence stopped. So there's always a chance that maybe Akira did all this to I guess establish a boundary. It's quite physically possible that maybe he intended to actually give an actual answer to this question no one ever asked. Because I don't think it ever came up. There was ever an opportunity to ever ask, can a Namekian make more than one set of Dragon Balls? In the way Dende, as you said, decided to use the Dragon Balls here. Yeah, I remember he entered a dragon statue and gave the dragon birth again. Because the Dragon Balls were inert because Kami and Piccolo fused again. So the Dragon Balls are dead by the time that Dende came to Earth. I feel like he said he wasn't able to do that, or his Dragon Balls wouldn't be as powerful as the ones they currently have. Maybe I'll look that up really quick. I feel like there's something. Did Dende make Dragon Balls? Wait, what? After Piccolo fused with Kami, Dende recreated the Earth's Dragon Balls, which had become powerless. Dende also gave Shinron the ability to grant 3 wishes, but one wish was used to revive a large number of people. Shinron can only grant 2 wishes. I remember that. But the designation that apparently one wish to revive large amount of people limited his power. Huh. It says that Dende also made new Dragon Balls after Goku asked if he could make Shinron powerful enough to bring back everyone so defeated. That's not clear enough. Oh, would you look at that?
What?
There's a Reddit that says they asked your question. Well, not asked your question, but kind of asked what you kind of propose. Could Dende make a second set of Dragon Balls? This is a Reddit that asked a question 7 years ago.
Oh, cool. So what's the answer?
Well, the same as making Dragon Balls, so they revive people already. That would involve them trying to find the Super Dragon Balls and slicing some more pieces off, but it's possible. The first set will be inactive. On the repeat resurrection is based the new Dragon Balls off the Shinron instead of creating a brand new dragon, and that role carried over. He theoretically could, though, but that would take 100 days according to him. Oh, that's what it was. I think I remember what happened. Dende was going to create a new set of Dragon Balls when Goku had brought him down, but it was going to take him too long. Is what happened. Is that Dende needed time. He couldn't make it fast. He couldn't make it in a day because Goku's impatient. So instead, Dende realized that they had their own Dragon Balls on Earth, so he decided to use the current balls and just resurrect Shinron. That's what he did. That's what happened. I remembered exactly what happened. There's some people that have your thinking that he they don't think so. Though actually, I guess thinking about that realistically speaking, the dragon's ability to grant wishes is only as strong as the person, the Namekian that created him, right?
Right.
So, in all reality, that's not a good idea to make a second set, even if you could, because like that's just half the power of the Dragon Balls at that point, wouldn't it? Because like the first set would have the original power of the Namekian in it. The second one would just have whatever power is left, and that might kill them, making both Dragon Balls inert in the process. There's nothing saying that they probably couldn't, but maybe there is some unspoken law about that. Because, like, I mean, I know Dende is a part of a really rare clan. Hold up. Like, he's a part of the clan that makes Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
Crap, I can't. Great, they don't even give the class of Namekian he is. But, oh, here he is. Well, his allegiances. Dragon Clan, right?
Correct.
There are basic members of the race, specialized mystic abilities, creating mystical spears, which can be used to summon a wish-granting dragon. What is anything here that even says there's a limit? Huh, that's interesting. It kind of makes me wonder. They said the Dragon Clan was once really big, but then the climate wiped out most of them. I wonder if that happened when they were in the demon realm. They can slay the earth after having their home new Namek attacked by Mira. The Namekians of the race remained. That's Dragon Ball Online. Hold up. Guru, Katas, Elder Mori, Dende. Oh, they say Piccolo is a possible member. I always assumed that Piccolo was a Dragon Clan member, but okay, maybe no one knows. Huh. Okay. There's nothing sitting there saying that there's a limit. But I think I would have to agree that it must have just been a limit that's just not spoken, because it Doesn't seem like that would be the right thing to do, or even that would be a plot hole. But now, theory though, here's my theory. It's possible that when Dende resurrected Shinron, it didn't use any of his power to do so. Because a lot of what the original Wakami had done was just carried over to the new dragon. I don't know if any of that wish granting that Shinron was able to do now has anything to do with Dende's power. So I mean, with how nonsensical that does sound, hear me out. Maybe Dende could make a second set of Dragon Balls. Because he's in a really weird situation where the Dragon Balls that are currently on Earth right now aren't really his. Like, right?
What do you mean? Because he activated somebody else's?
Yeah, at least that's just my theory. It's like Dende, maybe because those aren't his Dragon Balls, because those are Kami, he just, as you said, resurrected Shinron. He reactivated them. But those Dragon Balls, I mean, who's to say those Dragon Balls are using anything from him? Maybe he just reactivated it, because I know apparently all like the original rules that Shinron abided by still existed in Shinron. He may have just changed a little bit of it to make it so that they can revive like a lot of people at the cost of 2 wishes. But that wasn't a thing before, was it? No, because Shinron can only revive 1 person at a time. Before. So maybe they are Dende's Dragon Balls now. Because that wasn't something that Shinron could do before. Ah, okay. And one last thing I just now thought about this as it's talk about Dende. You did hear about the lifespan of the people that live in the demon realm.
Yeah, she's like 82 years old or something like that, and they live to be thousands of years old, or 1,000 years old.
Well, that's not what that her age is not what I want to focus on. It's the fact that most of them only live to be 1,000 years old. So Piccolo and everybody else actually have a lifespan that I wasn't aware of. I mean, I get that, yeah, they're gonna die, but I did not know like how long they lived. So Piccolo can be 1,000 years old at some point. He's not 1,000 years old because he's still alive and young, apparently. I don't know how old Piccolo is right now. The Piccolo has made the comment later on, and like even in Super, that he is getting too old for this. I don't know how old he actually is. Yeah, but she's 82 and she looks like a little girl.
I think Piccolo saying he's getting too old for this is just like a joke, because Piccolo's Namekian lifetimes seem to be very, very long.
Yeah, 1,000 years old. I don't think that would change if they left the demon realm. I highly doubt that would change.
I don't think it would change.
I wonder how old was Guru? Do we even have a name? Do we even? I wonder, was Guru his actual name, or? Like, I'm looking. Huh. Well, I can just look up Guru really quick to see how old he's actually supposed to be. That would actually solve a lot of things. Doesn't really matter now that he's dead, but... Well, no, Guru passed of natural causes. I guess that was his age, 762. No, that's just the age of the year. Oh, crap. So there is no age for Guru. Huh. But wait, I see. He died in the year 762, but he was born in 261.
So it's like 500 years.
Oh wow. Wait, he only he only lasted half the. I mean, that's correct. That he only lasted like just about half of the life expectancy in the Mechans. Jeez. Dang, that's crazy. I mean, he also had a lot of children too. Like 105 or 108. He popped out the making eggs like crazy. But yeah, Dragon Ball's down was interesting. We also have another way for them to get to the rest of the people to get to the demon realm now. When we didn't. That's cool. And the Demon King is interesting too. I don't know how I felt about Pansy's father being the I mean, according to her, he's a nice guy and everything like that. He only kills like evil people. So I guess I mean like them being ruled underneath him wouldn't be any worse.
Being underneath him wouldn't be any worse.
Being ruled by him wouldn't be any worse. I mean, being underneath him that'd be worse based on his weight.
But they said he was worse than Deborah.
Did he say he was worse than Deborah?
What's her name did? Yeah, Pansy.
No, I thought he said Gumma was worse than Deborah.
They did. Yeah. So who are you talking about? I'm sorry.
I'm talking about Pansy's father.
Oh yeah, he seems like he'd be okay.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what
I don't know if he's exactly next in line though.
I mean, he's attending to go for it the moment Goma's been defeated. Is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, when he's defeated, I'm gonna be the ruler. So yeah, like Vegeta and everybody else can get a chance to show up in the demon world, and now they have a ride in. It's funny it took them this long. It took us this long to get to this point where at least now we know how they're gonna get in. And I think they were heading to they were heading to the second demon realm, I guess, but before that they ended up crashing because Pansy decided to. Oh, I'm glad I stopped myself from saying what I was gonna say. She decided to pack a lot of stuff into the flying junkmobile, and then it crashed.
Yeah, she said that it was because she packed too much in, but like, I don't know. Was that really the reason?
I would assume so, because like I mean they already packed a lot of stuff already on there for them to have, but then Pansy came in on with her entire room. I mean, like it's no wonder Bulma managed to make the capsule so she can carry all she wanted within like one convenient like little small capsule in her pocket.
Yeah.
I guess Bulma's gonna probably teach her how to do that because Pansy is also a mechanic, so I was like, okay.
And she can fix the engine, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I think it's half the reason. I hope we don't come back this episode and she's like, I don't know how to fix any of this. I've never seen this at all in my life.
If there's a ship left to fix after that, the crash was at a pretty bad angle and kicked up a lot of smoke and stuff. You gotta have something to fix.
I bet she wasn't all that bad. It just probably looked worse than it really was. I'm pretty sure Gloria ain't gonna be happy about it though, because he didn't want to take her along anyway. So I guess with that, we're gonna end it here. Next week on next episode of Rurouni Kenshin. So I'm gonna let there ain't no break. I don't think there is. But thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next week.